Hello and welcome to What's the Story Ghost. I'm your host Annette.
And I'm Steven.
And today we are on episode 87.
Up in heaven.
There we go. Steven,
Annette.
we're not going to a particular place because apparently, upon doing research, I found out there have been more sightings in more places than I ever knew. One even as close as the UK.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I've read the title and I know what we're talking about. And I may have a story of somewhere even closer.
Oh, really?
Oh,
okay,
yes.
no. We crack on with the story first and
Let's
then you
crack
can
on.
tell me. Cool. Picture yourself out for a walk. Let's set the scene. You're in a forest, and from the looks of things, you have the whole place to yourself. It's a beautiful spring day. The morning started out crisp and cool, but has gradually been getting, let's say, less freezing rather than warm. You're listening out for birdsong, but you can also hear the gushing of water coming from the creek not far from you. There are little sprouts of what will soon become beautiful spring flowers popping up all over this beautiful forest. You get to the creek just before it branches off to a large river ahead. Open your canteen and fill it halfway with water. Replace the cap, give it a good shake, and discard the water behind you on the land rather than back into the stream. I'm not sure why, but in your head you think it's better than throwing it back in the water. You place your canteen back into the water, patiently waiting for your canteen to fill this time, still enjoying your birdsong, not really paying attention. And then the sound of a branch snapping under your foot frightens the holy bejesus out of you, so of course you let out a blood-curdling scream. But when you look down, there's no branch under your foot, broken or otherwise. You're currently walking on the stony shoreline of the river you're about to approach, so no branches. You turn quickly to check your surroundings and see nothing, so you can only assume it was a quick animal, but has since scurried off after hearing your loud girly scream, so you're not surprised. Until you hear it again, a branch snap as if underfoot, and this time a whoosh noise, like you hear when running through bushes or trees. And then you see it. And although you have no idea what you're looking at, you know what it's not. It's not an animal, as it's standing on two legs. It's also not human because it is exceptionally hairy, like a bear or a shaggy dog. But it's about 7 or 8 feet tall. So what the hell is it then? In the Himalayas, it's called the Yeti. In Australia, it's called a Yowie. In Indonesia, it's an Ibu Gogo. And for America, it's Bigfoot or Sasquatch. In fact, Bigfoot sightings have been reported in almost every US state, which corroborates the belief that there is more than one Bigfoot, and that it's not a singular creature, but a species. Species or solo act, the hunt for Bigfoot became a global phenomenon. Humboldt County has hosted some of the most interesting characters through its history, from writers to actors to adventurers, but unquestionably the most notorious, real or not, is Bigfoot. The moniker Bigfoot was first used by the Times Standard newspaper in the late 1950s in response to numerous sightings of exceptionally large footprints in remote wooded areas. However, tales of great furry humanoids had already been part of the Native American folklore and early settlers' reports for quite some time. In the 1950s, there was a significant increase in interest in Humboldt due to reports of large footprints discovered along logging roads, which were covered by the media. Plaster casts were made of these prints, which measured over 16 inches in length and indicated a 5-foot stride. Scientists confirmed that these were not bear prints, and that the absence of an arch indicated that the feet had known no shoes. There were also reports of the creature's unique musky scent and whistling howl. As more footprints and sightings were reported, people became increasingly more interested in Bigfoot. Expeditions were launched, some for scientific purposes and others for hunting. There were debates about whether Bigfoot should be considered an endangered species and whether shooting one should be considered a homicide. While some hoaxes were perpetrated, genuine accounts countered them. In the fall of 1967, Roger Patterson, who was searching for Bigfoot, recorded a 16mm film capturing the image of a female Bigfoot walking along the banks of Bluff Creek, located north of Weechpec. This footage has become iconic, featuring a tall, wide, hairy humanoid with long arms and simian features. The town of Willow Creek owes a great deal of thanks to its Bigfoot residents. In 1999, a new wing was added to the local museum specifically for Bigfoot exhibits. It was initially meant to showcase the collection of a renowned Bigfoot investigator named Bob Titmus, who had spent 4 decades in pursuit of the elusive creature. Since then, the museum's collection and Bigfoot's fame have only continued to grow. Every year, Willow Creek hosts its famous Bigfoot Days celebration, which draws large crowds and features parades, theatre performances, dances, and a variety of food. Images of Bigfoot can be found on statues, murals, storefronts throughout the town, and are also available on a variety of souvenirs such as t-shirts, magnets, and shot glasses. Although Bigfoot might not need a financial cut from all the attention, it certainly deserves recognition for its place in the wilderness. But even when Willow Creek isn't hosting a Bigfoot Days, you can still find something to do. Be it a stroll around Bigfoot books, dining at the Bigfoot Steakhouse, seeing the murals, and even a Bigfoot burger. Now, I watched the guys on BuzzFeed Unsolved try to put this burger away, and though they succeeded, they coined the phrase perfectly, "It's nap time after one." Based on personal accounts, Bigfoot's skin colour ranges from deep black to charcoal, dark brown, reddish brown or grey, with lighter palms and soles of the feet, and are reportedly an average height of 7 feet and 10 inches. They are thought to be mostly silent, but have also been credited with howls, grunts, screams and growls. If you need an example, please see the link in the show notes, section titled "It's Time to Go Now," when a mushroom hunter got more than he bargained for. Over the years, Pennsylvania has had numerous Sasquatch sightings, with the first one dating back to 1858. There were several sightings of a wild man who was described as a hairy, upright walking creature that caused fear among locals and terrorised both livestock and residents. However, the most compelling evidence of an unknown creature in the area was discovered in August of 1980. Locals in the Canoma Township area of Johnstown, Pennsylvania, found a massive print in the mud that appeared to belong to someone or something's right foot. The print had 6 toes and was over 17 inches long. The second imprint of the left foot was found 8 feet away, indicating a giant stride. The print was discovered close to someone's home, and there were reports of a foul smell in the area, as well as strange noises that were unlike anything they had heard before. The incident made the newspapers, and to this day it remains unsolved and unexplained. A little closer to home is a sighting that took place in Cannock Chase in Staffordshire in the United Kingdom, a 26 square mile forest that I had never heard of before researching for this episode. But seemingly for centuries, the forest has been plagued with paranormal activity and supernatural phenomena. From sightings of UFOs and Yeti-like creatures dating back to the 1800s, as well as child spirits and werewolves, Cannock Chase has an eclectic group living among her trees. In 2021, Bigfoot enthusiast Lee Brickley said he found tracks and claw marks that prove an ape-like beast is living in the forests of Cannock Chase. Lee took photos of the prints he found and claims they measured a terrifying 41 centimetres from toe to heel. That's nearly twice the size of an average male footprint, and far too large to be from any animal native to the UK. A few weeks after spotting the footprints, Lee seemingly found large claw marks on a tree near the area he found the prints, and not far from that was a mutilated deer that was covered in bite marks and its throat ripped out. There are so many reports from completely different areas, and though most reports vary, not just Bigfoot's height, his build, his colour, but his temperament. The last sighting would leave us to believe that Bigfoot is a ferocious monster, but there have been others, of Bigfoot short of rescuing a young boy. In 2019, 3-year-old Casey Hathaway went missing for 2 whole nights in the woods. How did a 3-year-old survive in the woods for 2 nights? He said he hung out with a bear for 2 days. I'm not sure how I feel about Bigfoot. I believe there may be an unknown, unstudied species out there that just wants to be left alone. I just wish the people who posted videos of an incredible Bigfoot sighting would maybe update their flashy camcorder equipment to something made, say, this side of the millennium. What do you think of that story?
That was really good.
Wasn't
Enjoyed
it good?
that. Yeah, all Bigfooty and stuff.
All Bigfooty and stuff. I just think okay, right, don't get me wrong. I would be scared. And I would probably be a little bit shaky, but I think for something as monumental as capturing Bigfoot, I would manage to hold my camcorder straight, or not shaking. Or I reckon it's because they're not looking through the viewfinder and they are looking where they're looking, but they're not pointing the camera the right direction, and all the photos just tend to be blurry. I don't get it.
Yeah, but if you're shooting Bigfoot, you're gonna be looking not through the viewfinder because you want to still have peripheral vision. Just in case it has not been proven that there's one. It has not been proven that there isn't two.
I'm not saying that I do or don't believe in it, but there are tribes who are in the back arse of nowhere that we don't even know about. So who's to say or who's not to say that Bigfoot is or is not real? And does he have a little bit of a side chick? Yeah, maybe he does. Bigfoot gotta get his freaky on. Have you any characters for me?
Couple.
No, you don't, do you really?
I do.
It's a story about Bigfoot. Who we got? Go.
Well, Bigfoot's tall.
Yes.
Basketball players.
Of course.
Michael Jordan's too obvious, so I went with Scottie Pippen.
Aside from the fact that Michael Jordan is bald.
Everybody is going to wear a furry costume,
yes,
or borrow our good friend Ron's ghillie suit.
It could be.
Which is like all ropes and tatters and stuff.
Yeah. It could just be like a really good mink jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the person who is selling all the real but not fake Bigfoot artifacts is none other than
paraphernalia
is none other than David Jason, the guy who plays Del Boy from Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah, you all gotta watch Only
because everybody trusts Del Boy.
Because he sells nothing but the genuine art.
Absolutely.
Doesn't Willow Creek sound like the kind of place that you would love to go and visit though?
Yeah, I'd love one of them burgers.
It's like the patty, not the patty, the bun is done out
it's
like
it's
like a giant foot. It's just so cool. And I love food that makes me want to nap afterwards. Although I don't think they do a celiac friendly option.
Well, I could get you a bottle of Calpol. You can nap that back.
I just love the way they have leaned into the thing that makes their area weird and wonderful, because we've talked about so many hotels that are like room 416 haunted. No, what are you talking about? And then we've talked about other hotels like the Banff Springs in Canada, where it was just kind of like, yeah, we have a plaque up, kind of not honouring but kind of being respectful to the bride who was walking down the stairs and her veil caught fire. And I love the hotels lean into that, because it's like, listen, this is a really crappy thing that happened at the hotel, and sometimes they don't leave, and you're welcome to say hello to them. Just try maybe not piss them off. There's no instruction on how not to do that though. You were saying something about having something.
A friend of ours.
Of ours? So I know this person.
Do you remember Tony?
Yeah.
Himself and our other friend Aaron we were driving through the Wicklow Mountains.
Okay.
And we stopped off. It's in and around the Sally Gap region. I can't remember, but if we drove past the turn again, because it's a sharp right hand turn, but there's a car park right in the corner, and then there's a forest on the other side of it.
Okay.
And Tony expressed his discomfort as he was here before at this spot, and he was standing either just inside or on the edge of the forest, and he seen a shadow.
They're worse.
Or I can't. This is so long ago that he told me this story.
An outline of something.
He may have even said it was clearer than that. I can't recall exactly, but he was adamant that he saw something that he could best describe as very similar to Bigfoot. There was nobody there. There was no other cars parked there. Nobody had got in before him. He was there at like whatever time of day. He was certain there was nobody else there, and he is certain that he encountered the Irish Bigfoot.
Right, well, let's be honest, okay? No one is actually going to say, I have seen the Irish Bigfoot, unless they are 100... Now, I'm not saying he did or didn't see it, but unless you are 100% convinced that you yourself saw what you saw, no Irishman is going to admit that he's seen something that far-fetched, or that, you know, it's not been debunked. Let's be honest, nobody's ever going to be able to... Like, how do you prove there is no Bigfoot? But no one is going to say that they saw it unless they are convinced that they did. And I think if you were able to give an exceptionally descriptive description to, that's one thing. But I think it's even worse if you just see the outline of something or just see the shadow of something, because your brain wants to convince you that your brain is playing tricks on you, like, haha, this is funny, and you're like, no, I'm in the woods by myself.
The amount of times that I've been camping with the scouts or friends, and you get up in the middle of the night and you're like, what the flip-flops was that? And after a while you're like, feel the emotion, but keep looking at it, because any second now you're going to realise that's a big leaf or a tree or a rustle, or one of the Cub Scouts has escaped.
Oh no.
Which is actually quite scary.
I think you and I have only been camping once, and I don't think I got up to use the bathroom once because I was terrified. Like I'd never been in Cork Park past.
You told me you slept really well that night.
I did, but I didn't get up once because I was like, if I have to get up to pee,
there's nothing worse than getting up to pee.
No.
Because you have to unzip,
climb over your other person, and then climb out the
and
door.
Unless you sleep in pajamas, which is not something I do, you have to put some semblance of outer clothing on, and your loose hiking boots with the laces tucked inside, because you can't be bothered tying them.
No.
You also have no socks, so you're standing on the little nodule ends on it, and you're just like, oh, this is really uncomfortable. But also, you just have to keep walking with vengeance because you've been trying to get yourself to go back to sleep for half an hour, but you really need to pee, and now we've come in and it's freezing, which makes you need to pee more.
But you're the only person I've ever been actually camping with, as in not taking into account times that I've camped, and I'm doing quotation marks here, with my cousins out my granny's back garden. That doesn't really count because it's not camping. Although something also tells me camping in Cammock Valley in Cork Park isn't roughing it, and it probably isn't.
It's camping, but it's
camping,
not wild camping,
but it's not glamping either. But all I kept thinking was, if I have to climb over him, he's going to wake up, make a very scary noise, and either he's going to scare the shiitake mushrooms out of me, or someone else who has a younger kid who's going to hear this big man.
I probably would have rolled over and farted.
which in itself is also quite scary.
Giggled myself back to sleep because I just hotboxed you in a tent.
But I did. I actually slept really well, and I think I overestimated how scared I was going to be, and underestimated how warm I was going to be, because I was wearing leggings and a t-shirt instead of my usual shorts and a string top. And I got into the thing and I was like, oh, I really hope the end of this sleeping bag has the zip that, the zips that you can undo from the bottom, so that I could throw one foot out. But then I had that scary monster under the bed thing going on. I was like, if I put my foot outside this, something's going to grab it. I'm like, where? You're at the back of the tent. They have to get to Steven before they can get to you.
I know a lot of couples that camp together will get the old school sleeping bags that have the square shape.
Yeah, and then just make it into like a double.
You make it into a double, and
sleep
just
on one and sleep under the other. Yeah, we need to go camping again. Oh, we can't do any of that stuff.
Children,
yeah. Well, we could bring them camping. Though a couple of my friends have brought their kids when they're quite young camping. Although, because I think once they start scouts, they're going to be like, I don't want to go camping with my parents. That's not cool. I want to go I want to go with like my friends.
I want to carry this big green massive canvas tent that weighs more than me, and cast iron skillets in a big black wooden box with 400 other items. It takes 4 people to lift. That's what I want to do.
Do you guys have like wheelbarrows or something that you can kind of bring all that equipment, or can you drive the vans right up to the places that you keep all
we
this
normally
stuff?
drive the vans in Larch Hill. You drive the vans up to the edge of the field. You're not allowed to drive any vans on any fields.
But everything in Larch Hill is up a hill. There's not like the car park is level, and then everything after that, even the little playground, the indoor area,
mountains.
But everything is up a hill.
A lot of troops will have their gear on a trailer. The trailer will be brought up by one of the other leaders in the back of his car or jeep, and then there's a couple little staff in Larch Hill that have Land Rovers and Land Rover off-road licenses, and Larch Hill insists that you have them, and you have to be staff as well. And then you will tow the trailers around Larch Hill.
Do you know what it is? It's kind of like no one is going to look after the grounds as well as the people who have to work there all the time, instead of just you who's there occasionally. Like the metal staff are there all the time.
Oh, they take good care of the place.
They do, they have to, because if they didn't, where would we all camp? We got sidetracked, but I actually liked that part of the conversation, because now I'm really fired up to go camping again, like middle of July. Can we camp?
Camp all year round if you want. Right, Teddy Bates could make the footlong burger. but you can make it from real Bigfoot.
That sounds...
It's a sinister movie.
That's
I've
misery.
I've been watching Hannibal going to bed the last few nights.
So that's normal for you.
Yeah.
Now I want to go camping again. Preferably not maybe in the Wicklow Mountains, because that's just...
I know, great spot.
Is it a big enough forest though?
No.
Could something be living in there?
Oh, absolutely. Anything could live anywhere.
Because like, there's only one spot that I know near Sally Gap, and it's quite a dense but small forest. But it is quite dense.
Probably the same one. There's a scattering of forests around there. Could be on the way to Glen McNass as well.
I wonder if there's any sightings anywhere in Scotland, and is that what bothies are used for in the interim?
Bigfoot huts?
Yeah, just Bigfoot huts.
No, they're there for survivals.
No, I know what they're there for. Okay.
Anyway.
We finish up there?
Say your words.
So thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I will of course include the links in the show notes, and if you have any questions on this or any other episode, our socials are What's the Story Ghost on Instagram and whatsthestoryghost@gmail.com if you have any personal stories you would like to share. And those are all my words.
Exit jingle?
Exit jingle. Bye.
There was an episode where Homer was
Bigfoot.
Was Bigfoot, yeah, exactly. It's not completely
Wouldn't
relevant.
it be amazing if though somebody actually sent in like their personal story? It was like, oh my god, Steven, I've been to Wicklow. I know where you're